Thank you for joining me for a little nightcap. Nightcap is all about just ending the night. It's not about philosophizing. It's kind of like talking about the day, debriefing. It's not about anything in particular except just kind of like getting data off my chest with not a lot of feelings. Nightcap is going to be a new episode, very short, won't be as long as Beards Without Borders. But I call it Nightcap for three reasons. I'm wearing a nightcap. I'm smoking Dunhill Nightcap tobacco, pipe tobacco, and then I'm sipping on a nightcap. This is tonight's Jack Daniels Splash. Tiny, like maybe a quarter of a shot glass. The square, actually this is the square espresso cup. I love the oaky, smoky taste of Jack. And then Pennsylvania Dutch eggnog, which I like that's in with the Jack Daniels. I don't quite fill it up to the top. I'm going to put my hand over it and give it a little shake. There we go. Nice. The smell of eggnog and whiskey. I know eggnog and rum usually go together really well. But being a whiskey lover, the eggnog, which is already an alcoholic drink, mixed with Jack Daniels, shaken up, no ice. Can you see that? It looks like vanilla pudding. So here's a nightcap right here. So you have oh man, that is just stunning. When I have anything with whiskey in it, whether it be a dessert or a sauce, I think of my father, because my dad used to make the best whiskey drinks, and he still does. And I'm so happy to join him. I'm glad he's still living, where I can just sit down with him and we can have an old fashioned or a Manhattan or just a nice whiskey on the rocks or scotch. It's funny, for an Italian family, we really like our whiskey. I mean, wine is good too. I come from a family of winemakers, but gosh, my family loves their whiskey. Cheers. Here's to you. Oh, that's just lovely. Firing up the nightcap. Oh, it's so good. Love it. Smells beautiful. English blend. It's lovely. So my Thanksgiving went well. I sat next to... let me put it this way. Let me just rewind it a little bit. My housemate, my roommate, I have a female roommate. Her deceased dad's first cousin invited us to dinner. We go places as friends and support one another. My family's in Florida. I have to work tomorrow, so I couldn't go to Florida for a day, obviously. So we went and joined her as she joined her boyfriend's Thanksgiving. She is 80. He is mid to late 80s. Both physically well, mentally sharp. And his nickname is the Colonel. It came from when he was in the military. So I got a chance, and we all met at a restaurant, had a nice big Thanksgiving dinner. I had the privilege of sitting next to the Colonel, which was next to the fireplace at a very long table. Just really neat. He had a career in the military, and then he became an artist, a sculptor, and he makes these faces. He's done over 11,000 sculptures in his career, and he's still Not going strong, but he's still going. 11,000, and they're all over the world. They're like in 18 countries or something like that, his sculptures. And he does alpine art, which kind of looks like me. It's like a cross between like what I look like and a gnome. Kind of like hooded figures with like beards. And he carves out of either lava rock or he uses driftwood, which would be like he goes to like pine forests that are near the ocean, and he gets these logs and this wood that was like submerged and then for many years and then dried, that kind of thing. And apparently it just something helps. Something in that process, that natural process, helps the wood last longer than untreated wood. It's almost like it's almost like nature's version of pre-treated lumber. It's kind of interesting. And apparently these sculptures are meant to be outside. And a lot of them looked like they were almost not, yeah, like cone shaped, almost like if I had this hat on straight, like a gnome almost. But you know how like when a person's wearing a hood, it kind of comes like that, and they look like pyramidic, bearded, but not gnomes, not like gnomes or smurfs, but more like wizards. And people put these in their gardens. He's made over 11,000 of them and has made a fortune doing art shows. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But sitting next to a man that was even older than my father and listening to his take on art and life and making a living and earning and never wanting to work for anybody, wanting to do his own thing. And I was just like, oh, dude, man, this is great. And watching him light up about it. Because remember I talked about in one of the Rise and Shine episodes, he says remember Vaynerchuk said, when you talk to like 85 or 90-year-old people, their face changes when they talk about regrets. That's true. But I add to that, I've said people's faces change when they talk about two things, their regrets and their goals, realized or not realized. And what's interesting, which could be a regret as well, but this man's face lit up. Mentally acute, very sharp. His face lit up when he didn't talk very much about the military, but his artwork excited him. And even after being in the military, he spent decades traveling the world doing art shows, open air festivals, and so forth. And his work is now in 18 countries. He's done very formal works for permanent gardens, arboretums, that type of thing. But mainly it's what I would call a consumer art, but not one piece was the same as the next. It was interesting. So to watch him talk about his artwork, even almost at 90 years old, was fascinating. Just incredible. And he looked at my face, and he really he says, "You look like the people, the figures that I make, that I sculpt." And I thought, wow, that was kind of neat. What a neat pairing. What are the chances that I would be invited to a dinner of 20, 25 people, and I was sitting, and I was given a seat next to the patriarch and his girlfriend. I just thought that was really kind of neat, and everyone else was son and daughter or and grandchildren of this man. That was really neat. And his girlfriend, 80 years old, plays golf, goes to the gym often. I'm telling you, people are just living healthier longer for the most part. It's really amazing. And he and one of his sons smoked pipes, which I thought was kind of interesting. And that's it. That's Nightcap for the night. I like the title of this video, Nightcap, because of my nightcap on my head. Ebenezer Scrooge. Very Charles Dickens. I got my robe on, my nightcap. Maybe someday I'll be a grandfather. I don't know. I think it would be kind of fun. I still haven't fleshed out my own fatherhood, let alone my grandfatherhood. One of these days I'm going to talk to you young men and women about having babies, about growing a family, and some of my thoughts on it, and maybe my counsel that you might take or reject or just think nothing of. But I definitely have, as a father of 3, I have some very strong thoughts about parenting, about going into parenting, about divorce and marriage and all that kind of stuff. So I'll share it one of these days. It won't be in a nightcap, though. I don't want that on my mind right before I go to sleep. And Nightcap is going to be literally just me zoning out. So many of the videos that I've done have been like when the weather was nice. They were usually outside as the sun was going down. Within 30 minutes, the sun was down. Now that it's so cold, you couldn't stay outside unless you had several layers on. And then you'd be just hearing noise and stuff like that, because I don't live in a I'm not living out in the wilderness somewhere. It's a very suburban area. I'm 4 miles outside of a very large city. So the Beards Without Borders is more philosophical, peace-oriented. That's really the goal of it. And Nightcap really is going to be the video that, like, basically when I hit the stop record button, 5 minutes after that, I'm in bed sleeping. So there's a lot of times I'm just like zoning out, and honestly, one of these days I'm going to fall asleep. I'll be talking for like 2 minutes, and then I'll just be like this. The video will probably run until it runs out. I will upload it, and there's going to be like 1,000 comments of people saying, "That's my favorite video." I'm warm out here. I have the propane heater on, the nightcap, the robe, or smoking jacket, my nightcap here, and my nightcap in here. So in the future, when you see Nightcap, pour yourself a little drink. You drinkers will probably pour yourself a bigger drink. But just pour yourself a little shot glass. Learn how to sip and enjoy. That's why I like pipes. You got to enjoy them. You can't hurry this, and you can't hurry this. I like the flavor of things. So in the future, when you see Nightcap, get out your nightcap. Get out your nightcap. And get out your Dunhill Nightcap pipe tobacco. I have to be at the mall tomorrow because I work in a damn mall. The store I work in actually opens up at 6 a.m. on Black Friday. Black Friday tomorrow. This is Thanksgiving night. They open up at 6 a.m., which means that all the store associates will just be very cheerful. That's a joke. But I'm working 10 to 6. And I think they're open till like 11 at night, something like that. Some really crazy, ridiculous hours as we approach the holidays. I'm not affected by those hours, though. Yeah, get out your nightcap, and your nightcap whenever you see the word nightcap, the title nightcap, and then join me and just have a little drink, a little sip, puff away. And that way you can be hanging out with a friend. Oh, it's just eggnog with whiskey. Whiskey more as a flavoring, not to give it more of a kick, which it would anyways, but you want it to be an eggnog drink, not a whiskey drink. So you're just kind of using the whiskey like you would put ketchup on a burger. More of a condiment type of thing. So flavorful. It's amazing. I actually I had some oyster crackers, like those crackers you get at like seafood restaurants and stuff that you put in crackers you put in soup. They're just like a little ball. These little balls here. I'm not supposed to eat them, but I don't like to waste anything because they're white flour, and that could be trouble. But you know what? I'm smoking a pipe and drinking whiskey. A lot of times I like to munch on things when I'm out in the Van Gogh room. I just like to, if I like mix a drink or if I have a glass of wine, if I have something that's bigger than a shot glass, I just like a little munchie. Just something to, a lot of times I'll have like one of those pretzel barrel things with the big hard pretzels in it, or the pretzel rods that come in that big round container. Pretzels are actually perfect. I've been starting to have the whole wheat and whole grain and not just made with white flour, and I'm getting used to it. I will completely eliminate the diabetic condition that I have. 100%. It's gonna go. 100%. Blood pressure will go down. Weight will go down. Everything. I got control of this thing. Giving myself a year. Let me take a bite of my oyster cracker. I was at Fleming's Steakhouse for my birthday dinner. On the way out, they gave me a box of 4 chocolate truffles in it and a $25 gift card to return. And a free dessert, which was kind of fun. I might have to mix up a little bit more nightcap. My God, that went down a little too easy tonight. Just what I need. But it's all good. Hey, thanks for joining me. I'm safe. You're safe. You're in your house, your bedroom, your shed, your man cave, wherever you are. We're not out and about. We're not going to be getting into a car. We're tired. It's the end of the night. You can have your little nightcap. You can smoke your little nightcap, and you can wear your nightcap, and no one's going to look at you like you're a nut. I like to say, Army of Average, unite, but also to the army of the odd, shall I put it that way. I know I don't fit into a mold, and I'm not what society totally embraces, let me put it that way. As a whole, my clients do, I should say. I have a following of faithful, loyal people. But, I always felt a little bit different. If you remember the video that I did where I said, at what age did you realize you were different? And we're the army of average, and also we're the army of odd. And whenever you've felt odd, whenever you feel like you're different than the rest of the people, and that you view life differently, your perceptions are different, and you communicate different, and you just want to keep it to yourself, or not, whatever. You could let it out through your art, and that's perfectly okay, whatever you do. Or if you just want to enjoy being different and you don't want to exploit it, that's okay. Then you can turn on Nightcap and join me. But I want to say that this is dedicated to you. The first episode is dedicated to you. You are the army of odd, the army of different, the army of walks to the beat of a different drummer. So this is to you, whoever you are, male or female. You're different than everyone else. You know it. Embrace it. And cheers. Ah, it was good. It was good. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining me. Good night.